Are you ready? Because you still seem to be intensely looking at your thing and eating crisps. Well, I can't start while you're crunching.
That's what you're doing. Ready?
It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time. It's a wonderful waste of time.
Hello and welcome to the 41st ever A Wonderful Waste of Time podcast. It's not really a milestone, but every 10 feels good.
It's like the states of the American flag. Is it 41?
No, I think it's way more than that. That's 50 something.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
well,
like 53.
that's my American
I don't
history.
know.
But there was original 40 states, wasn't it? Originally 41
No,
states?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, don't
Why would I know about American history?
I don't know. America rules the world.
I know the film American History X.
Good
That's
film.
about it.
Good film.
Yeah.
Good film.
This is a show where we look a little bit deeper into the things we like, love and hate. And this is the version of the show where we do exactly that by spinning a wheel to pick two topics and which one of us is going to talk about something. And then we just pick something we want to talk about and go into one specific detail about it and talk about why that's worthwhile or why it's shit. What can be learned from things? Sometimes it being shit is what we talk about.
Yeah, no, that is true. It's true. I mean,
We've done it like 3, maybe 4 times at most.
Maybe
out of
also on your side of things.
no,
but
you've done it. You've done it more than I have.
Shit, I'm such a positive person.
You've done it for effects films and app games, and I've only done it for Watch Dogs 2.
That's a good point.
And I still
because-
praised Watch Dogs 2, even though I slagged off some of it.
I can
you've
praise
done it
mobile
more than I
phones, yeah,
have.
I could praise mobile games now because the game that I downloaded at the end of that episode is pretty addictive.
The Pro Evo game.
Yeah, man, it's a good game. It's a fucking good game.
So, shall we spin the first wheel and find out? I haven't even introduced us. I'm Crota Draylai, and with me as always is...
SG. But
Yeah, some guy.
Wait.
I don't know who you are.
Wait. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I was like, what we know who you are.
Doesn't matter that we know. They need to know.
Oh, well.
Why doesn't SG stand for some guy? Because that would be kind of clever.
That is actually...
If you just like,
pretty-
what does it mean? No, I'm just some guy.
Oh.
Oh.
I really like, well, you know him as John, but OSOM.
Awesome.
But it's
Yeah.
also open state of mind.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. All the things.
I do like that it's awesome, but it's spelled like awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's more like dramatic. Awesome.
Even if you try to say it like, as it's phonetically, it's awesome. You know what I mean? There's no way of not saying it.
Awesome.
Yeah, without it sounding like awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really clever actually.
Awesome.
Damn. I'm SG just seems really shit now. I was like,
Don't be down on yourself. Should I spin the first wheel?
you spin it.
Do you want to try and come up with a new name for yourself while I spin the wheel?
Yes.
Right, go.
Oh wait, it's all becoming SG stuff. The first one that came out was sophisticated gangster. What the fuck is that?
These are the kind of things I call you at the beginning of the episode. Since like episode 30,
Yeah.
I've come up with a different thing SG can stand for at the beginning
really
of
good one. I think some
every
guy's
episode.
probably my favourite right now. Actually.
Some guy is
because it's
pretty
very
good.
like you know,
Yeah.
SG sounds like it's something, but then some guys are like, no, I'm just some guy.
I'm just some guy.
Man.
Well, that's why. Oh, wait. Stop. It's me. Let's spin the second wheel and we'll just carry on the conversation.
We just keep talking about it. Yeah.
So what I was going to say is that part of the reason why I liked Some Dumb Kid is because I always like the idea of them being on the radio and going, oh, this is that new song by Some Dumb Kid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just some random kid who's made this song. That's why I came up with that. You need a new name for yourself. I need to stop this wheel.
Yeah, but it stands for every moment matters. Like
That's not really how anyone spells them. Stop.
Fuck.
I got films.
Cool.
Just so you know. I wanted to talk about like alternate detective films. So films where people are in a situation where they start doing detective work even though they're not actually a detective. If that makes sense. So there are films that sort of have like the one I specifically want to talk about sort of has like a noir-esque feel to how he goes about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not a detective film. He's not a detective. So the film's called Girlfriend's Day. It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original. It might even be. I definitely watched it on Netflix. It's Bob Odenkirk is the main character in it. So the guy who's in Breaking Bad, the guy he plays Sal in that. That's probably what people most know him for now. But other people will know him as like Mr. Show and Bob and David and that kind of stuff. So in the film, he's a greetings card writer, and he was like one of the most successful greetings cards writer. But then he sort of stops doing it because he falls out with it and he doesn't like doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they try to get him back in the game after he's been kicked out for being...
Leave.
So they get rid of him because they think he's like washed up. So they're like, oh, you haven't written a great card in years. You're just trying to do the same old stuff. So they kick him out. Exactly. That's why this is a really interesting setup for a film. So it's really weird because everyone around is like kind of obsessed with greetings cards. It's like a really big deal wherever they are. Cool. So a lot of people work at the greetings cards factory. They all go to the same bar, and there are people that come there that are into people who write greetings cards and stuff like that. So they've got like groupies, but for writing cards.
I'm sorry.
And they have like an open mic situation where people come up on stage and read out their new ideas for the cards. But it's really interesting, the setup of it.
It's so weird though. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the poster. It looks so serious.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of why it's really good. Yeah. Because everyone in the film kind of takes it pretty serious. Like, no one's just like, oh, this is greeting cards. Everyone's really serious about greeting cards, and that's why it sets up the situation really well. Yeah. So he gets fired because they think he's washed up, and then he sort of goes off a bit, and he sort of loses himself a bit. And then they come up with a new holiday. So the new holiday is called Girlfriend's Day. Okay. And they're trying to find someone to write a new card for Girlfriend's Day, but everything the people that they've got right is really shit. Yeah. And then they ask him to write something, and he tells them to go fuck themselves because they fired him. Understandable.
That could be a really good...
That could be a good card. Yeah. Why are there no fuck you cards?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah, why can't you send cards to your enemies?
This is a nice little passive-aggressive, like...
It just says on the front, I just want you to know, and then you open it up and say, you can fuck off.
It's great.
We should make some passive-aggressive cards.
Yeah, man. Just post that
We could sell these.
Christmas cards, man. Passive-aggressive Christmas cards.
Yeah. Specifically for Christmas.
Yeah. I hope you didn't get that what you wanted. You know?
No, just put inside the card it says, I hope you also have the receipt. Wow. So what happens is he ends up writing something for a card that he doesn't want to show anyone, and supposedly it's like the perfect thing, and everyone who sees it, it's like a MacGuffin thing where you don't see what it actually says in the card, but every time somebody looks at it, they get like really like teary and stuff like that. Okay. They get like, oh wow, this is amazing. This is like the best card that I've ever seen.
Can we just pause for a second?
Yeah.
When you say greetings, because this is really... You're talking about happy 18th birthday in the front. Yeah. And then you go inside, exactly. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah. Cards.
And people are tearing up. Cool, I love this.
Yeah. It's like a really weird setup.
It's genius.
So there's all this like other side stuff that's going on. So there's a girl that he meets after he's been washed up in, I think she works in like a charity shop or something like that. And she's really into cards, and she's like a big fan of his cards and stuff like that. Because everyone knows who writes the cards in this world. They're essentially like massive authors, but they just write cards. And there is also his ex-wife who married a guy who does cards, and they're like little doodles. I think it's of an owl. I can't actually remember now. Yeah. But they're like little happy cards, and they're all like really happy, optimistic things, and he fucking hates them because the guy that his ex-wife is with now is writing these really happy cards, and he's really rich from it and stuff like that. So he hates those cards, and that's kind of what he bonds with the girl that he meets about, because they have like a rack of those cards in there, and she says they're shit as well. So that's kind of how they meet. So where it goes into the detective stuff is...
I was just...
so someone gets murdered. So there's a person who has the... I'm starting to wonder, was it Bob Odenkirk who was supposed to have actually written the thing? I don't know if it's him who actually wrote the perfect card or someone else. But either way, it ends up in the hands of someone and they get murdered for it. So somebody murders them to try and get this because they know they can make so much money by selling this perfect card for Girlfriend's Day.
Of course, you know.
So the film is Bob Odenkirk's character. Essentially, he's like a noir detective in that he gets dragged through all of this shit.
Oh, okay,
so he doesn't go, I'm going to go and solve this. It's just kind of stuff happens to him. He witnesses a murder and then he has to try and work out what it is so that he can get the card back because the people try and like take him hostage and stuff like that. All over a greetings card.
I'm trying to read the synopsis and it's as crazy as he is. Like, I'm thinking it's got to be like it's just so random. It's so random. Like, it goes from happy greetings cards to murder, deceit.
Yeah. Where are you looking at a synopsis?
IMDb. Like it's like, in a city where greetings cards writers are celebrated like movie stars, romance writer Ray used to be the king. In trying to recapture the feelings that once made him the greatest, he gets entangled in a web of murder and deceit as writers fight to create the perfect card for a new holiday. It doesn't match. Yeah. It sounds great. I love stuff like
why
that.
It's really good.
Yeah, I love stuff
because
like that.
It's not like... I find it really interesting when there's a detective film that isn't a detective film. You know what I mean? They don't need to be setting out to do anything. He just gets in a situation where he kind of has to because they're in fucking peril, you know? They might get murdered for having the greetings card.
How does he become... I guess obviously so that he gets dragged through it, but how does he become the detective?
So he sees the person get murdered. He knows the person who got murdered. He sort of finds them just after they've been killed.
Oh, okay.
And he sees them die. He didn't see who did it, but he sees what happened. So there's like a level of... This is when the spoilers start coming in. That's why I was kind of avoiding it. So because I really think people should watch this. It's really good.
No, that's how good.
So it's on Netflix if anyone wants to see it. But yeah, when the spoilers start coming in, there's a level of like corporate espionage behind it. So the guy who owns the greeting cards company, it's like his brother, I think, from memory.
Is that who died?
No. So that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking on a different tangent now, so don't try and fill in the blanks.
Oh, right, go.
The guy who owns the company that he used to work for, his brother, or something like that, from memory, is the person that's trying to get the card. So he's got like a gang of thugs. He's like this rich guy, but he's got like a couple of people that work for him who he's hired to go and get the card for him so that he can make money out of it because he has a rival greetings card company.
So he wanted to hire him. Guy's not having it.
No, he didn't want to hire him. I don't think he ever actually tried to hire Ray.
Oh, right.
He just wants the card.
Oh, he just wants the card.
So he wants to be the person who has the line of Girlfriend's Day cards and make all the money because the two brothers both own greetings card companies. Cool. He might have actually been the guy who died. I can't remember. That might be the guy who was supposed to be in charge of the company. I can't remember.
Cool.
But either way, it's the brother that's trying to get the card.
Yeah.
And then he finds out towards the end that the girl that he is into, that he's been saving throughout the film, like from thugs who have come up and punched him and stuff like that, trying to get the card, is actually his daughter. Not Bob Odenkirk's. Not his own daughter. The guy who owns the other company's daughter.
Okay.
And he's like this violent bloke who's like forced her into doing it to try and get the card.
So she wasn't on it.
He writes the perfect greetings card. It's definitely him that wrote it. I remember now.
Okay.
He wrote it for her. But she's essentially been undercover the whole time.
Oh my god.
To try and get him to write something and to try and get it. It's really good.
Really good.
Exactly. This is why I was... Spoiler warnings. Because this is essentially... That is both the plot and like a major plot point, obviously. But that's where it all becomes so detective-y. That's where you get... It's a very detective-y ending. So the whole setup of it is this weird world with a greeting card, and he has a lot of things happen to him, but it's the end where it becomes... That's when it's a detective film, you know?
The double crossing and the...
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. That sounds really cool.
But
I love,
it's really good. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I love when, like, I don't know, writers make a point of really mundane things being like this magical thing.
I like... Yeah, mundanity is really interesting as well, as a way of writing characters as well. Just to have someone do something really normal can make them really interesting. Yeah. Obviously, that's not really normal. But it is though. It's just a guy that writes a greeting card, but they've made it something so dramatic.
Yeah, to kill over.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like. I feel like it's one of those things where you can't really imagine.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I mean, say greetings card. I can't even imagine what would make a good greetings card.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's actually a weird kind of... You always go, and when you need to get a card for someone, you go to a shop and you look at all the cards and go, these are all shit, but then you can never think of anything that would actually be good.
True.
You could really improve it, so it must be big business for someone to write an actual good one.
I mean, like, the ones with characters in them, you know, like they've got little pictures and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. But that's not what he's doing, is
just about writing.
That's just writing.
It kind of is as well. It's the whole card. There's stuff on the front and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there is supposed to be some level of design, but it is more about the words is the focus of it.
No, that is really...
It's really interesting and really underrated. It's got quite bad reviews now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
But I think that's because it's not obvious what the film is going into it, because it's Bob Odenkirk as well doing it, and it's listed here as like a drama comedy, and it is funny, but no one's making jokes. It's funny because of the situation. I wouldn't say it's really a comedy. It is funny because of what happens. There is funny dialogue and stuff like that, but it's not like anyone's doing straight up jokes about what's going on.
Yeah,
it's all. Like, they play it quite seriously as to what's happening, and it's just funny because it's about fucking greeting cards. It's like a weird, stupid concept. That's where the humour comes into it.
Yeah.
It is vastly more a drama, and I would say it's more of a crime drama than anything else because of all the stuff that happens. And the murder and such.
Cool. It sounds interesting. It sounds like something I actually would enjoy watching as well. Because there's no point of... I mean, it sounds bad, but there's no point of that. That sounds like I'm going to take that film too seriously.
Oh, no. No, you wouldn't take it seriously when you're watching. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The reason why it's funny is because they take it seriously.
Exactly,
but it's funny watching. You wouldn't watch it and take it seriously. Or maybe in little bits, because there are, serious bits where someone get murdered and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you would not watch it and not think of it as being funny. I can see how it's a comedy, it's just not performed like a comedy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of negates itself. It's a comedy because it's written as comedy but not performed as comedy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you can even look at the cover, there's only one smiley face.
Yeah.
And he looks
quite serious.
It looks like a lawyer film. You know what I mean? It looks like
he looks like a detective.
Yeah, like some sort of suit situation. You know, it looks like they're going to be in a courtroom at some point.
A courtroom drama.
Yeah, very much so. So that's quite interesting. I think that whole setup, but people don't get that anymore. People don't get that kind of. Would it be? It's not irony, but that kind of like with Super, right? It's essentially it's a silly film in essence. It's quite a silly film, but people don't get that kind of. They don't get that sense of humour that I say people don't get. Obviously, people do get it, but I don't think it's not
super broad to do sort of the unexpected version.
Yeah, or to have that play off against something that is really silly, but playing it not too seriously, but just playing it as in no, it's not silly at all. Actually, this is
I would say Super is a thing that is much like that, where they play the characters seriously, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds like that same setup, but I don't know why people just don't seem to click with that kind of.
I don't know. I don't know what you would call that kind of humour, but it's. I feel like it must be quite hard to write because you need to write people not wisecracking and shit like that, because that would lose itself in it.
I think one of the hardest things about writing stuff like that is it's more about how it's played.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, like you can easily overplay that. Oh no, we're trying to be serious here, blah blah blah. But it's kind of playing this as greeting cards, man. This is a serious business.
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about? Like it's that element to it, which I don't know. For me, it just makes you question, like, in reality, what are things that we treat like that? If you get what I mean, like, what are things that we are like that essentially are just stupid little things, but here we are being like, whoa, this is like game changing material. Shit, you know what I mean? Where essentially it is just greetings card. Like, that's for me. That's why they appeal, and this sounds like something that would appeal. It's quite interesting.
And there's two other films that have kind of got a similar thing that I wanted to talk about. One of the others is it's Bob Odenkirk, with like a money tree card. Yeah.
What? It's a money tree.
Yeah. So it's like a really old thing. That's part of why he gets fired, is for giving them stuff like that, where it's like you get a load of coins inside the card, so you're giving them money. But that's considered like a really old hat type thing to do.
Oh my god!
It is. It's funny because of the greeting card stuff. Yeah. If it didn't have that, the rest of it's kind of serious. It's just exactly. It could have been about anything. If it had been about like business, if it had been like documents for some major corporation, it would have been like a very serious seeming film.
Even in a bit,
because about that, and because they make it so ridiculous in what's happening, because of the greetings cards, how seriously everyone takes it, the little stupid things that happens to him, like he ends up looking after someone's kid and stuff like that, and he's got a broken arm through the whole film. So there's all these weird little things that happen through it that make it funny because the situations that he's in are stupid.
Yeah, essentially.
That's why it works.
Even in literature, like, it could have been anything. It could have been like a groundbreaking novelist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that makes it's just the fact that they chose that of all things, greetings cards. That's cool. What were the other films though?
So I want to talk about a film called Brick.
Brick.
And a film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore.
Jesus.
So I'll talk about Brick because oddly I feel like Brick is more closely related to this. As much as I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, where it's kind of funny. It's also a Netflix film. But Brick is Rian Johnson directed it. Do you know who Rian Johnson is?
No.
So he directed the Star Wars that comes out today, the day of this recording.
Ooh, The Last Jedi.
Yes.
So Johnson looks
Joseph
cheeky. That's what I'm still picturing him. He looks like a cheeky guy. Look at this guy here. Isn't that a cheeky face? It's like, yes, guy, you're gonna enjoy the film.
That is probably from him promoting Star Wars.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
That's got to be a sense of I made a Star Wars film.
So Brick.
So Brick is like a very hard-boiled style. It's a very noir-styled detective story.
Yeah.
It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he was a bit younger, playing like a high school kid who breaks up with his girlfriend. And then he sets out to find her and what's going on. I don't want to talk about this too much because obviously I've used up most of the time for the first one. And I want to talk about both of these, but I just wanted to talk about it quickly. So
this
is a lot more serious. Yeah. This isn't a comedy. That's what I'm saying. The other one is more funny.
Okay.
I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore is kind of funny. This is a serious version of it. But it is the same thing of like, he's not a detective. He's just some kid who wants to find his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he knows something's happened to her. So he broke up with her and she goes missing. So he sets out looking for her. Yeah. And there's this like weird part where there's like drugs in the community. But it's all like kids. It's all about these high school kids that are doing everything. And he has to go and find out this whole weird underground like child cartel. Not like child, but like teenage cartel.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. It's a really good film. Because it's got such a noir sensibility to it, but it doesn't look... It does actually, the lighting is kind of like a noir film, but it's not like black and white. It's not trying to be a noir film. It's not like trying to have that concept. He's not a detective. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just some angry kid who wants to find out what's happened.
Do you know what I love about it? I'm just looking at it now, and it's like... it was made in 2005, but from the pictures and like you said about the grading and everything else,
Yeah.
it looks like that could have easily been an early 90s film.
Oh, 100%. It does look like a 90s film. I think because it didn't have a huge budget. I don't think so. It didn't have like very high end. Was it 2005?
Yeah.
I think they definitely spent more money on lighting because it is. There are parts of it that are really, really well lit.
It's like, that is such a film thing. It's like...
It is. That's what I do. This is what I think about. It is a really well lit film. There are parts of it that look really noir. So there's a bit where he goes into like a basement and there's only light coming in through like a tiny window in the ceiling, like a basement bit.
Yeah.
So that looks really dark. And then he finds a mirror and he uses the mirror to look around. And it's very light, so he reflects the light around. It's really cool.
Yeah.
The whole film's just really cool. But it's this idea that it's just a kid doing it. He's not a detective. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just trying to find out what's going on. That's what really makes it work. And it is a detective film, but he's not a detective. That's the thing I was trying to talk about in the first place. We're going to run out of time, so I'm going to talk about the other one quickly.
Go for it.
So the other one is called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, as I've already said. So it's about this woman who her house gets robbed, and she tries to find out who stole her stuff, essentially, is the basis of it. She asks around the neighbourhood and then asks her neighbour, who's Elijah Wood, he's called Tony, who's this really weird guy who's like blasting metal music. And he throws like shuriken around and stuff like that, like throwing stars and shit like that. He's just like her weird neighbour. And at first she like avoids him and stuff like that. But then when she tells him about her house getting robbed, he's like, "I'm going to come and help you find out what happened."
Did they go on an adventure?
Why are you saying it like that?
There's just the whole Elijah Wood Hobbit thing.
Oh yeah.
Just thrown on another adventure, you know?
Yeah, that's what he does in every film, isn't it?
Cool, okay, yeah.
So the detective element of it comes in where she's obviously trying to find out who robbed her stuff.
Yeah.
So she's got like family heirlooms and shit like that have been stolen. That's what she really cares about. So she's got like, it's like silverware or something that was her great grandmother's or whatever. So she wants to go and get all this stuff back.
Yeah.
So she finds like a flea market and sees that some of it's being sold there, and then she sees the van of the people that had stolen her stuff. Yeah. So it's all this detective thing of she goes to one place, investigates a little bit, notices something, and then chases it on, and that's where she becomes a detective. And she's got this weird fucking sidekick in the form of Tony, this crazy guy that seems to want to fight people, but clearly doesn't really know how to fight people. So I don't want to give away the ending of this. Obviously, I've ruined one film. So I don't want to really give away too much detail. But the film works again like that one because she's an inadvertent detective. So she again doesn't want to be a detective. She doesn't set out to be a detective. She's just pissed off and wants her stuff back. Which is essentially
that makes sense.
Brick and this both have that idea of someone who's just angry, so they go out to try and get shit sorted out. Girlfriend's Day has the idea of him being like, he's really the property. He's the thing that they're trying to steal because it's his idea.
Yeah.
But I really like this concept of having a film that's a crime thriller that's not just they're a cop, so they're on the case.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like regular people because they've all got different skills based on what their normal life is, and I think it's far more interesting to see a normal person try and solve a crime than it is always to see a detective. Yeah. I think you've got to have it needs to be both a really serious crime and it needs to be genuinely interesting for it to still be interesting now to have a detective do it.
Yeah.
Whereas something like this, you can take something weird and fucked up and make it work by not having a detective solve it. Because it's part of it's like, why wouldn't a cop just solve it?
Yeah.
And it's because it's these silly things.
It's because they just got chucked into it kind of thing rather than
So the cops aren't going to go and track down her silverware. They don't give a shit about that. Like it didn't have like monetary value. It's a personal thing for her. They're going to look into it, but they're not going to really manage to solve it for her. So she goes out and does it herself. The cops don't have a way of actually finding out what's going on with the girlfriend in Brick. So he goes out and he does it himself. It's all this idea of
stuff
people
like
just going in.
yeah. Sounds like a...
It's vigilanteism as a detective.
I don't know why. The only film that is coming to my head, and it's totally not like these, there's only literally a bit that is like this, is Identity Theft. What's
the one with Jason Bateman?
Jason Bateman and...
Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah, that's the one.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, well, no, it's just the fact that there's just one bit in it where he literally has to find out who stole his identity.
That's like a comedy.
Yeah. So that's why I said it's not in the same self.
Yeah. No, but that's still... Is it the same thing of like, isn't she an identity thief?
Yeah.
And then he has to go after her because he's trying to sort shit out.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Like, It's that. But this one...
Which is the character that Jason Bateman has played in almost everything, is guy that has to sort shit out for everyone else. That's who he is. Arrested Development is him trying to sort out his family's shit. This film is him trying to sort out her being an identity thief. Ozarks is him having to sort out the shit that his friend got him into. Yeah, Jason Bateman is the guy that sorts shit out.
Which is why he's always passively pissed off.
Yeah.
He's got this kind of
really well.
He's got this great
because
really
he does the really pissed off but dealing with it, and he can be a prick but still likeable.
Still likeable, it's great.
Like you root for Jason Bateman even though he can do really bad things.
Yeah, it could be laundering money for the cartel.
And you're like, come on, Jason Bateman, stay alive.
Fuck the haters, man. Cool. No, it is really interesting stuff. I think that films like that are really interesting.
Yeah. And I'd love to write something like that. I have ideas for something. I do have ideas for straight up detective films that have detectives in them. But I would like to write something where it's a sort of mystery.
You can write
it's a mystery, but without the detectives.
Like a renegade pineapple and find out who stole the pineapple.
I don't really write things based on the name of my YouTube channel. That would be stupid.
Please do. Quest for the pineapple.
No. It's not even funny.
It's funny to me because I'm writing it in my head right now. The pineapple that's been passed down from the Mayans for millions of years, maybe.
It's like an artifact.
It's an artifact.
It's like Indiana Jones.
Boom.
It's an adventure film.
Yeah, but you have to find out who stole the... this isn't going to happen. I'm never going to write this. You don't sound too keen on it, so...
I really don't.
That's that.
Should we leave it there for the first half?
Well, I think my jeans have been crossed, so yeah.
Yep. Well, it kind of deserved to be. You try to steal my IP and come up with a shit film based on it. And we'll be back after a very short break, and we'll be finding out what's in for the second half.
It's a wonderful waste of time.
And welcome back. Right, are you still trying to work on your ideas for the film about the thing that is mine?
No, it's alright, man. I mean...
Like, it wasn't even based on the podcast that you wanted to turn into a detective.
It's just based on the actual pineapple itself.
Just based... You just like the idea of being a pineapple.
Yeah. And the pineapple comes to
life. But really, the renegade pineapple would be the one solving crime because he's a renegade.
Yeah,
he could be the reluctant.
It's not
detective.
the actual renegade pineapple that's being stolen.
Oh, it's just a pineapple artifact.
It's like
the artifact of his people. The pineapples.
Yes,
I'm slightly more important.
I
could see this as a cartoon.
Too late. Well, no. Let's get like a real action pineapple. Just stick some.
Yeah.
What do you call?
Ryan Reynolds wearing like a prosthetic pineapple face.
Nah, I don't think it as a person. That would be so creepy.
Yeah.
Would he have that despite it?
Like a really rubber mask. Yeah.
No, that's weird.
Make it a really creepy film.
What would you do with the body?
He just wears a suit when I draw it. I know he does. When I draw the pineapple, it just has like a normal person body.
What I like about that is it's either the pineapple is just the head, or it's the pineapple is just the head.
Or it's a human body.
With the human body.
Yeah. No, it is. That is what I normally do.
Out of nowhere, it just grows a human body.
I just put the pineapple's head on whatever. He's a logo. It's not a sentient being.
Well, in this film, he would be.
Well, you can explain the plot for me really quickly while I spin the wheel to find out who's going next.
Okay.
So tell me what's going to happen in the film now.
300 years ago, there was a group of pineapples, and they passed down this artifact which gives them special powers like strength and flying. Now, this one pineapple is the last in his race, and he's kept this statue preserved. But because he's taken up the vigilance, fucker.
It's me again.
Damn, man. Oh,
And
I've got
then-
another chance.
Go, carry
Because
on.
he's taken on a vigilante position with his superpowers, people are like, whoa, what is this? Pineapple. But they realise all the powers were passed down from the statue because that's where the spirits of all his ancestors are. So
So the person who's stolen it starts being like a superhero.
Villain.
And he has super villain, whatever. So the person who's trying to solve it doesn't have super. It's a super villain with actual powers against a regular. I am on board with this now. If you'd said this bit, I would have thought this was a genuine concept for a film.
You didn't give me the lowdown.
You didn't have it then. I feel like you've just come up with it now.
No, that's
Stop.
like 3 months of
I
writing.
got films again. I can't do films again. You've got more time. Continue.
Yeah, so like you said, basically the pineapple is incapacitated now because obviously the statue is gone.
He has to solve it with intellect rather than with powers.
I was going to
He's
say...
like Batman with less weapons.
Oh, okay, I was going to say someone else comes through, but yeah, okay, it could just be... Oh, yeah, it could have been... He used to be a superhero.
Yeah, but the
now
other person
he's just-
stole his thing, so now
now
he's like a
he's-
washed up guy.
Shit.
So now he has to
Shit.
try and take down the villains using his detective skills
Yeah, as a
without
normal human.
being capable of fighting him.
Crazy.
It's like Batman trying to
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
Superman,
Yeah.
but without
Without
any of
suit.
the money and any of the stuff.
Without
It-
Alfred
it
even.
would just be his intelligence.
Crazy.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that.
Stop.
That's
I got
powerful.
films again. I can't do films.
You know what that is?
That's
a
the
sign.
rule.
That's a sign. It's saying...
Stop. He got films again.
So that's the rule saying that's a film,
It
guys.
wants us to make
that's
up
a
this
film.
film.
It's like, guys, that's
Guys,
a film.
get it made. Stop. Games. Thank fuck for that.
Oh, man, we need Ryan Reynolds' number, man.
And they call up Ryan Reynolds now. Get this made.
Ryan, just listen to the interval in our 41st episode. And,
Is this
just
going to
let
be
me
with
know
him
what
as
you
an
think.
actual person?
Huh?
Because that's the only time I want it to be Ryan Reynolds. If this is a cartoon, I want to voice the pineapple. It's only,
I guess
if,
a cartoon-
it's only if we
a
need.
cartoon would make it
It's
easier.
only if we need a human and with a human with a body. We need Ryan Reynolds.
Where are you going to find one of those? Those floating head creatures?
Yeah.
No.
It's only if we need a physical presence that we need Ryan Reynolds. Otherwise, if it's a cartoon, I'm voicing him. Even if it's Ryan Reynolds, he just gets to be the body, I still get to do the voice.
Like,
I don't know, that's just who I said.
he's got such a douchey face.
But he's going to have a pineapple over it.
Oh, he only works as Deadpool.
I think he's carved out his niche in the fact that it's kind of hard to take him seriously most of the time. So he's done like the funny versions of things.
Oh, did he do Green Lantern?
Yeah, the shit
Oh,
one.
yeah, he does the shit films. Great. Jesus.
He does do shit films,
Oh,
great.
you know what?
He also does a lot of really good films.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good to know he's human.
Yeah. They're bringing down a peg. You're too successful for us.
We all make mistakes.
Deadpool,
Ryan.
Hitman's Bodyguard.
Hitman's good. R.I.P.D. is not that good though.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's not that good at all.
Oh, well, actually, have I seen that? Has that got Jeff Bridges in it as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
like
it's
Shit
not
Men in
that
Black.
good. Okay, yeah. That could work. That could work.
I think it's
Instead of
based on a
aliens,
comic
it's,
book by the same writer, the guy who wrote Men in Black as well.
Oh, really?
That might be true. That might have been a thing that I just said that was absolute parts. Doesn't matter. So we're going to talk about games. So I want to talk about a specific game. I don't know entirely what. I just want to massively praise the game.
Cool.
But I'm trying to work out all the actual detail I want to focus is because I just think it's really well done. It's like an adaptation game that's really well done, and there are a few of them that are really well done. I would like to just quickly say, if anyone hasn't played The Wolf Among Us, the Telltale game based on Fables, that's really good, and you should play that.
We want to play Fables actually.
Fables,
Yeah, that's
Fable the game.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
completely different thing.
I know.
And I wanted to talk about the South Park games.
Okay, cool.
And so I've.
On all platforms.
What do you mean?
Don't they have them on like the handheld platforms as well?
No, there's an app game.
Oh,
The
okay,
other
fair
two are on consoles.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, I want to talk about the recent South Park games. I don't want to talk about the older ones. So for years they made shit fucking South Park games that both of the creators of South Park didn't like. It was just people who could use their IP, putting it onto stuff. to make money, or maybe they'd said okay to it, but they hadn't really been involved. They hadn't really been made well. I remember there was one for like N64 that was like a first-person shooter thing that wasn't really very good. And I know recently they've said that they'd quite like to make a first-person shooter, but it's their involvement that's going to make it good. The Stick of Truth was the first one, and the second one is called The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
They were both involved in it. I think a lot of their creative team were actually involved in making it, but they are both really good, and they're just South Park. They're so fucking South Park. It's so well done. It looks exactly like South Park. It's got the exact same humour because it's them actually involved in it. Yeah. It's as funny as watching South Park.
Same voices?
Because it's them. Of course it's all the same voices because there's pretty much only 3 or 4 voice actors. 2 of them are the people that created it. Oh, right. So they basically voiced everyone in the show.
Cool.
I think they voice all of the men in the show. There's 1 or 2 women that voice the female characters. It might actually just be 1 woman who voices all of the female characters. Other than that, it's just like the kids. Like, not the main kids. I mean, like Ike and is he called Philbot, Ike's friend? The like really little kids are voiced by actual kids. Other than that, it's just them.
Fair enough.
So with some like pitch changes and obviously them voice acting. So like
acting.
Do you imagine in a cartoon
with your voice?
Voice acting's not real acting, even though it's fucking difficult.
Probably a lot more difficult. I have to get all this.
Imagine having to portray a character without anyone seeing you.
Nah. And
it sounds easy, right?
Imagine if the drawings are shit as well. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. Can't see your face. You angry?
Yeah.
Constipated.
Well, imagine doing it for what is essentially, it looks like bits of paper.
Yeah.
That's what South Park is. It's got a really cool style, but like cartoons, it's hard to facially make things as obvious as because there's no subtlety.
Yeah,
like
with really well Cartman. I think Cartman's probably one of the best emotional characters in most cartoons anyway.
The voice acting, he does his voice so well. He's got such range to him. So what I wanted to talk about in the games, apart from the fact that they're well done and that they feel exactly like it, they do a lot of little things that I think are really well done.
Yeah.
So in the first game, you have a system of making friends that's like Facebook. So every time you go around and talk to someone, they add you on Facebook essentially.
Yeah.
So you have like a collection of friends based on that. In the second game, you have Instagram, but the second game is about superheroes. So you know, Cartman's called the Coon. He's like a raccoon guy. Yeah. So there's Coonstagram, which is Cartman's own version of Instagram, essentially. I'm going to just try and pass over the fact that that's his name. There's an even worse bit than that in terms of naming in the game that I'll tell you outside of this.
Oh, God.
Because it is really genuinely like offensive, but genuinely funny. So there's a thing where you can take pictures in the second one. So you take pictures of yourself with everyone. So you take a selfie with someone, and then they add you on, or they follow you on Instagram. So there's this idea of your phone being like a part of your normal stuff, and I've noticed a lot of games have been doing this. And I think it's really interesting. I know Grand Theft Auto 5 did it really well, where you have your phone to do so many different things. You can call up people and then meet up with them using your phone. You get all of your maps and stuff like that from your phone. It's really well done, and it's bled into stuff that shouldn't have phones in it. So like in Breath of the Wild, the latest Zelda game, you have a Sheikah slate, which is, it looks like a tablet, it looks like a phone. The point of it is that it's your map, but you can also take pictures with it. It is essentially a phone.
In the land of Zelda.
It's a phone for Link, because he needs a magic phone because he can't have a technological phone.
Yeah.
He has a Sheikah slate, which is this magic thing he can take pictures with.
Is this how he gets in touch with Zelda?
He just calls her up.
It was like, I'm not leaving my house today because we can just talk now. I have to trek like 5 different
I don't think they can communicate with it.
Nah. That's shit. I don't know.
But he can use it to teleport to places. So essentially, Link could just teleport to Zelda.
Is this
it doesn't work in the setup of the game anyway. In the game, you could never go and talk to her anyway until the end of the game, because that's the plot of the game.
Yeah, of course.
So he wouldn't really be able to text her.
There would be no game.
He'd been in a coma for 100 years, and she's trapped inside a castle that's been taken over by Ganon.
Like,
No, it's a different timeline. This is the point of Zelda. Are you not getting? It's not again. It's an alternate version. Every game is an alternate version of the same events.
Same thing. Okay.
That's how I see it. Anyway,
that's a great way to make a game be the same but different. For like how many years?
Doesn't matter. It's always a good setup. Breath of the Wild is fucking spectacular.
Breath of the Wild.
If you have a chance, you don't have the console, but if you ever have a Switch or you have a Wii U, play Breath of the Wild. It's amazing.
My little brothers probably do. Still is. Wow, graphics look sick.
It looks amazing. That's part of the reason they gave you a camera, because why wouldn't you want to take pictures of how beautiful that looks? A lot of games have photo modes and stuff like that now as well. Horizon Zero Dawn had a thing where you could take pictures of the environment. Mario Odyssey, you can take pictures. Not like getting a camera out. It's not like Mario just pops his phone out of his pocket. It's just like you go into like a photo mode and you can put filters on it and stuff like that, and then take screenshots from it. So a lot of games are doing that now. A lot of games have like an art mode as well, where you take pictures. So I think, Infamous Second Son definitely had it. So I remember taking shitloads of pictures with that. Because I like photography and stuff like that, so I got kind of obsessed with doing it. Horizon Zero Dawn definitely did it really well. Cool. They did it in The Last of Us as well. They had a photo mode. I think they might have even done it in Uncharted. But there's just so many games are doing this thing where you can take pictures and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just like good looking games let you take pictures of them. But it's fun doing it in South Park, because as much as it looks like South Park, so it's not like these are like breathtaking views and stuff like that. But you can like pull facial expressions and stuff like that. And because through the whole game you're putting on different costumes and stuff like that, you can go and meet all the different characters. You might meet your favourite character and you take selfies with them. And it's a part of the game because it adds your friend count, and you've got to try and have as many friends as possible, and that's actually part of the plot as well. As you find out, there's a reason why you're so good at social media. It's like part of the plot of the second game.
Okay.
So it is kind of a little bit of plot in the first game, but more explained in the second game. And it's really interesting that there's like this background thing of it.
Can I just ask what you do?
Well, in the South Park games.
Yeah.
So they're both RPGs.
Okay.
So in the first one, all the kids are dressing up as like their fantasy characters. So you know, like the Lord of the Rings episode where they get the tapes mixed up, and the kids were trying to watch The Two Towers, the second Lord of the Rings film. Oh, but all the parents had porn, and they got the tapes mixed up. So they try and return the porn, but accidentally return a Lord of the Rings film, and then the kids have a porn film that they've become not obsessed with the porn film, they're obsessed with Lord of the Rings, so they start dressing up as like fantasy characters. So the first game is based on that, where they're all like, it's a role-playing game in which all the characters are role-playing. Yeah. So all the kids are dressed up as their fantasy characters, and you sort of side with a different like guild. There's like two sides of it. There's Cartman's side of it, and he's like the Grand Wizard of Cooper Keep, which again, another lovely racist joke. The initials for there's a third K in there basically. Their initials is KKK. Also, a little subtle one that not a lot of people notice is that Cartman's called the Grand Wizard. So he's like
straight KKK.
KKK.
Straight
Yeah. So like,
I was saying this to someone the other day. How like it's so annoying how they've stolen really cool names. like there are times where I may have considered being part of it just to be called the Grand Wizard Dragon or something.
Yeah. Why do they use dragon? That's so weird.
But it's like they sound so mystical and cool. And they're all bigots.
So all the kids are essentially, they're role playing. So there's Cartman's side of it where he's the Grand Wizard, and then Kyle is like the king of the Drow Elves. So there's the two sides, the two faction. Drow Elves is a type of elf.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So they have the Stick of Truth, which is the stick that if you have the Stick of Truth, you control the universe. So it's basically it's like a kids game thing of whoever has the stick gets to make up the rules for what's happening in the game. It's fighting about the Stick of Truth. It goes missing from Cartman, who has it. Yeah. And they blame Kyle and the Drow Elves, so they're trying to get it back for him. So the whole game setup is like the war between the two of them, and then obviously there's a load more fucking weird shit that happens in it because it's South Park. There's a bit where there's like aliens, the Underpants gnomes are in it, there's like this whole government thing, there are Nazi zombies. It basically goes further and further, and the stick of truth gets taken way too seriously by everyone. So there's like an alien like ship crashes.
Yeah.
And the cover up for it is that they're building a new Taco Bell, obviously. But some chemical from the alien ship keeps turning people into Nazi zombies.
That was literally in my face because I see that. Literally just before you said
that's the plot of the game. So the plot of the character is that they're just really like Cartman and them are only involved in like their little infighting, but you, the new kid who can't talk, witnesses all this fucking weird shit and gets involved in all of this, and you can't really tell anyone because the rest of them don't really understand what's going on.
Wow.
And so the second game, The Fractured But Whole, you're superheroes.
Yeah.
And again, it's a similar thing where they have two rival franchises.
Yeah.
So the Coon and Friends franchise is sort of split up. So now there is Coon and Friends, which is obviously Cartman's side of it.
Yeah.
And the other part are called Super Best Pals or something like that.
God.
So they're...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The fact that I prefer Coon and Friends is
exactly.
so worried.
I think that's what they're called. It's called something really shitty like that and too optimistic. That sounds like the Super Best Friends, which is like the DC bullshit. So it is kind of about that, but then there's all this weird shit. Morgan Freeman's in it. He provides you Mexican food that helps you control your farts.
Please say it's actual
that can like
Morgan
change
voice.
time and stuff like that. No, of course not. It's him doing an impression of Morgan Freeman. Actually, Morgan Freeman's in both games, but Morgan Freeman is more heavily involved in the second one.
So you keep saying that. I want it to actually be Morgan Freeman in South Park. Imagine that, like that deep, serious voice saying shit every 5 seconds.
I don't think he really swears even when he's doing the impression of Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
it wouldn't be very Morgan Freeman.
No, it wouldn't be. That's. You wanted to let it, you know.
So the second game is the same thing. It's all this weird shit that's going on. Something gets stolen, and then that's the sort of genesis of it.
Yeah.
And there's the infighting between the two groups, and it's the same thing of it's just a load of kids dressed up as superheroes who want to have their own franchise, them wanting to have like a series of films. So you know how like Marvel overdoes their planning. So you know how like Marvel have planned films to like 2028 or whatever. It's the same thing with this. So like Cartman's worked out how all the films are going to go together, and now that the group's split up, it's ruined his plans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I really like is how, because they're just kids role-playing, when they get knocked out, they're just laid on the floor, and if you hit them again while they're laid on the floor, they get up and go away. So they'll be like, fuck this, man, I'm out of here. Because it's just kids. But it's all treated like really normal. And in the second game, there's bits where you're fighting in the street, and a car comes over, and they go like, car, and they all get back up onto the pavement, wait for the car to come past, and then go back out into the street and start fighting again. It's
kind of cute, actually.
It's really, they put a lot of like normal kid stuff in it as well, because they're just a bunch of kids playing around fighting, and that's what the game is.
Yeah.
That's why it's really nice. But it's very South Park, and there's some really fucked up bits in it, and there's some really weird bits. I don't want to spoil things for people, but both games have like one really weird, really fucked up part of the game. It's really well done on both of them.
Is it the same thing?
There's two different things.
Oh yeah, I was like, what? Cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you what they are afterwards if you want to know, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone listening. I highly recommend playing both of them. If you like RPGs as well, the first one is more, it's like just a turn-based RPG. The second game is like a grid system RPG, where you have to move around as well, and you can sort of knock people into each other, which I really like. A lot of people didn't. I thought it was really good, and I can't wait for them to make a fucking third game, and I hope they never stop making South Park games, because them being involved in the writing makes the whole game funny. And it's just so fucking good.
Cool.
We should.
This was really, cool.
I guess we should wrap up there then. I don't think I've got much else to say, but yeah, I like the idea of having social media be a normal thing in games.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I think it's a clever mechanic to use things that are very real world. That's what I wanted to talk about. That sort of applies to both of them. It's putting things that are normal into the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
using social media to contact people makes so much sense. Having the internet in games makes so much sense. They did that really well in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Having them just be kids that are playing dress up makes so much sense. And it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that every now and then the kids are just like, oh, fuck this, and then they leave and stuff like that. I like that.
No, that's good. Yeah, because it doesn't
It's
take
a nice
away
detail.
It doesn't take away from it. Actually, it's just an extra element to that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if it was all treated like it was really serious,
That would have worked for South Park, anyways.
No, exactly.
That would have worked for South Park.
It's a funny show, so the game needs to be funny anyway, and they are. They're both really funny.
Yeah, I'm guessing the dialogue in these are going to be outrageous as well.
Oh yeah, they're really good. And like I say, the two bits that I'm thinking about that are quite fucked up, but are good. You'll enjoy the concept of both of them. It might make you want to play the games.
Yeah, we do know that.
I'll tell you afterwards, so I don't spoil it for anyone else. Is that it for this episode then? Have you got a question of the day?
A question of the day would be... Right. So you see, like, what's that president that got assassinated?
The what?
JFK.
Did you say, what's that president that got assassinated? Yeah. About 6 of them?
I know, that's quite a few. That's what I'm saying, like, I just remember that one. Because America. Right.
You remember that one, not Lincoln.
Yeah, but I mean,
JFK and Lincoln, probably the two most famous assassinations
like
in America.
Way before, and he was in like a...
Is your question if you could assassinate any American
president?
No,
it was actually more of like... I'm trying to ask a question with regards to how would you investigate it, but in a sense of if you was just randomly walking down the street and somebody was shot in front of you and there was no police, would you investigate it? Yourself. And how so?
If you went to the police and they didn't believe you. Because you can't just say if you witnessed it and there weren't any police there, that wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter.
You just go and report it to the police.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you went to the police and nobody believed about the thing that you'd seen, would you go and look into it yourself, or would you just try and ignore it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, but I don't like that question because it's too serious. I want someone
too
to
big.
Think, yeah, it's that's
question,
a proper sit down think question.
Yeah. Think about that question, but don't.
Yeah, just put that one to the side. Put that one. Oh Jesus! Right. Question of the day is going to be: if you could be any... No, I've already done a superhero one.
Have you?
Have I?
Don't know.
No, I haven't.
Not that I recall.
Okay. What is a normal day thing that you can make a superpower?
Kind of combines a bit of the both of them. What's like a mundane thing that would be your superpower?
Yeah.
I like that.
Mine would probably be to be forever cold. Now, but this is a superpower.
Because if you go somewhere hot, you're still cold enough to survive.
Bam. And
the
I
hottest
can
situations.
Freeze things with my coldness. I can't. I'll just make things cold. I'll just be like, oh, that's just slightly colder now, and I'm still cold, so... That's a shit power. It's a really shit power. But there we go, that's my power for now. If anyone else has any better powers, like, to be able to eat a lot.
Leave them in the comments.
Eating a lot's a good
or
one.
Email them to us at awonderfulwasteofemail@gmail.com. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes and YouTube. You can probably find us in other places. Just look for AWWOT Podcasts or A Wonderful Waste of Time. Or you can just go to soundcloud.com/AWWOT and you get links to everywhere we are. And you can like, comment, subscribe, tell us about things. If you want to hear more from me, you can go on YouTube and search Renegade Pineapple, which apparently now is being turned into a film. Only if Ryan Reynolds is on board.
2020.
And if you want to hear more from SG, you can go on soundcloud.com/Mr. Souls or mrsouls.bandcamp.com. And it's Mr. Souls spelled MRSOLS.
Yes.
Is that it? That's everything. What were you going to say?
I
Because you had one hand up that whole time.
I just wanted to say, just with regards to that question, remember, Flash's superpowers are very normal. He's just really fast. With just some extras on it. So, with just some extras,
I don't
know. He can turn the world.
So you can take a mundane thing and then take it to extremes.
Exactly that.
And how would that develop into actual superpowers? Because like you're saying, he can just run fast. He's just fast, but the extreme version of fast.
Yeah.
But he can use that to travel through time and dimensions.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. And back to me being always been cold, I can free shit. If it touches me, though.
Yeah, it's kind of already a thing.
Who's that?
There's plenty of like superheroes and supervillains.
Nah, I can't remember anyone.
Iceman from the X-Men.
Nah, he's
Captain Cold. He's a supervillain. He's the worst named supervillain. Killer Frost. Yeah, his name is genuine. You think that Captain Cold shit? His actual name, his surname is like Snart or something like that. He's got like a surname like someone who'd never heard of an American person's surname.
Captain Cold sounds like a really bad public service announcement about, the winter bug.
Well, there's a lot of poorly named. I mean, even like Dr. Freeze is a pretty shit.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dr. Freeze.
Yeah. He's going to prescribe you a cold.
Professor Freeze. I can't remember.
I want it to be Dr.
By the way, it's kind of a shit name, really, isn't it? Killer Frost, slightly better. Iceman, yeah. There's a lot of shitly named superheroes.
Oh man, all of these are like
stolen your thing.
Yeah, but fuck them.
That's it for this podcast. Next week we'll be doing a top 5 of something. See you then.
Bye.
It's a wonderful